Good morning, children. How are you all? This is Priya, your English teacher from Alpha International CBSE School, Bahu. So, we have successfully completed the first two chapters in English literature book. That is chapter 1, the best Christmas present in the world, and chapter 2, the tsunami. And in this revision part, we are going to discuss a brief description about the stories of both poem and lesson and the question pattern. Chapter 1, the best Christmas present in the world, and the poem 1, the ant and the cricket. You have already finished learning. You are thorough with the chapter, and now the only thing is you have to just read. Only one is remaining, right? Chapter 2, the tsunami, and poem 2, geography lesson. I think for you guys, a grown-up guy, it is a very easy task, right? Yes. Let us revise the summaries of the syllabus and then let us discuss the question pattern also. Okay, children? Now let us start summarizing the first chapter, the best Christmas present in the world. Let me read first. The story, the best Christmas present in the world begins with the author making a decision about buying an old roll-top desk which is in a bad condition. He had longed for one since long and he was also confident that he could restore it. Thus, he takes the desk home and he starts working on it on the eve of Christmas. He finds a secret drawer that carried a letter addressed to some woman named Connie from her husband Jim. It said that it was his last letter and was dated December 26, 1914. It was written at the time of the war between Germany and Britain. It enlisted the series of events that followed on the day of Christmas that year 1914, or a wonderful thing that happened, in the words of Jim. He wrote about how the two armies that came together to celebrate the spirit of Christmas despite belonging to enemy nations. They forgot about their differences for a while and realized that they had much in common. So this paragraph explains us, children, that the story, the best Christmas present in the world, this story starts with the introduction of author that the author wants to buy a roll-top desk. The author is in a poor condition. He is a poor fellow and he has no money to buy a new desk. So he planned to buy an old desk. So he planned to go to a junk shop and bought a very old roll-top desk which was in a bad condition. He knows that he is confident that he can repair it, restore it in a very good condition and he wants to start his work on the eve of Christmas itself. So while he started working on the desk, he found a secret drawer which was stuck and he struggled and opened the desk. And then in the drawer he found a letter which was dated on December 26, 1914. And that letter was it was addressed to some woman. The woman name is Connie and the letter was written by her husband Jim. And in that letter, this author, he don't want to open the letter because it is a bad thing, it is not a proper thing like opening and viewing others' letter. But his curiosity as being a very old letter and a very old table desk, he was very curious to open it and read. So he was unable to balance the curiosity and open the desk and read the letter. And then he found that it was written by Connie's husband, Mr. Jim, who wrote about his experiences which he spent in the war field. Like how the two armies, the Germany and Britain armies, how they met each other and how they spent their times together to celebrate the Christmas celebrations, and by keeping aside the enmity of their nations, they forgot that they are the enemies. They were enemies, and they started enjoying, and at last they realized that both are equal. Both are same. Both have many things in the common, but only because of these wars and all these fights, these people are thinking as if they were enemies. So let us check in what is there in the next paragraph. They shared snacks, sausages and rum. The two officers, Jim and Hansel, developed a good bond over a chit-chat. They both were of the view that countries should negotiate peaceful and resolve conflicts by playing football or cricket. The soldiers played football that day, and when all their supply of food and drinks was finished, they knew it was time to return back to their own trenches. That night, they exchanged Christmas carols. As Jim tells Connie about the day in his letter, he assures Connie of their reunion next Christmas. The author who read this letter thought he should reach out to Connie. He finds the address mentioned on the envelope, and discovers that the house had been burned and Connie, a 101 years old lady, now lived in a nursing home. He visits the nursing home and hands over the letter to Connie, who is immensely overjoyed on reading the letter. She misunderstands the author to be her husband, Jim, and calls him the best Christmas present in the world. So another interesting part in that letter was that both armies started sharing snacks, sausages and rum, means like drinks and food, whatever they're having, they started sharing and enjoying, and they shared their views. It means the chit-chat means they were both talking. The two officers of British and German, Jim and Hansel, started talking with each other, and while sharing their views and ideas, they noticed that these wars are unnecessary, which kills people's life, and all the women were getting widowed and all the children were orphaned. Instead of fighting in a war field and losing lives, they can play football or cricket. This is the thing which they realized when they were discussing. And in that celebration, all the soldiers were playing football and ended their enjoyment with drinks and emptied all the dishes. Later, they have returned to their own trenches. After reaching the trenches, they started singing the carols of their nations. Okay. And in that letter, Jim assures he is telling confirmly that he will come and meet Connie the next year. But to save pity, he didn't meet Connie, and Jim lost his life in the war. And now the author, after reading this, he felt very sad, and he wants to find out that Connie, the lady, 101-year lady, and he wants to give that letter back to her because she saved the letter very safely in the drawer, but unfortunately it just gone to the junk shop by some other people, the letter. So this author wants to do justice for this letter, and he wants to hand over that letter to Mrs. Connie. So he went in search of Mrs. Connie, and later he found that 101-year-old lady in a nursing home. He visits the nursing home, and later he gives the letter to Connie. At first, when he saw Connie, she was looking very dull and she was not in a stable mind. She didn't even recognize the author, but when she saw the letter, her eyes and face were filled with happiness and glow. And in that such happiness, she could recognize that letter, but she could not recognize the author. In that happiness, she felt that the author was her husband Jim. And By seeing her situation, the author was unable to say that he is not Jim, he is someone who came there to hand over the letter. But he couldn't open his mouth because he wants that old lady to be happy at least for that moment. Okay, children. So this is why Mrs. Coney felt that the letter was the best Christmas present in the world. She said with her own words, after seeing the letter with bunch of happiness, she expressed and conveyed, she told the author that this was the best Christmas present in the world. And we do know how much love she had. Right? And we can realize that how much she was missing her husband, waiting him to return. So that is all about the summarization of this story, the best Christmas present in the world. And then next, the ant and the cricket. You all know the story about the ant and the cricket, right, children? So let us see what is there in this poem. Let us summarize the story of this ant and the cricket also. Okay. This poem is about a silly young cricket and an ant. This story is about what? A silly young cricket and an ant. Cricket was only singing all day long and used to enjoy his good times during summer season. He didn't plan anything for the future. When winter arrives, cricket couldn't find a small amount of food to eat. So the cricket thinks of going to miser and to borrow food and to get shelter. Then the cricket knocked at the ant's door asking for help. The ant gives a very important lesson to life during its conversation with the cricket. Ant says that ants neither borrow from somebody nor lend to somebody. Ants are hardworking creatures and save for the future. The ant asked the cricket what it was doing during happier times. On hearing the cricket indulged in dancing and singing and making merry. The ant asked the cricket to try dancing and singing once again during rough times. So children, let us look into this. In this poem, the poet wants to convey us about the best moral and evergreen moral. So he wants to convey this message through this fable, the ant and the cricket. So ant and the cricket are the two creatures which were living. The cricket is a creature, it is an insect which is always singing and dancing all day and always wasting the time during this summer season. He did not plan for anything, he didn't plan for the winter and rainy days. If rain and winter starts, what it will do, he never planned and did not think. He wants to enjoy the present, right? And when winter arrived, this cricket could not find small amount of food. He felt very hungry, weak and tired, and he don't even have a house to stay. So in order to borrow food and shelter, he went to Ant's house. He knocked the Ant's door and asked him to just lend some food and give some space for shelter. Now already ants are miser ones, right? Miser means who will not share anything. Who is not willing to give anything even if they are having enough of. So that kind of ant it was, and this ant wants to teach a very good lesson to this cricket. So while in that conversation, this ant, when the cricket was begging for food and shelter, this ant is saying that just a small phrase which insulted the cricket that we ants neither borrow from somebody nor lend to somebody. It means we ants will not beg or borrow anything from others. In the same way, we ants will not lend anything to others. This is our policy. So, Mr. Cricket, we will not give anything to you. Don't waste your time. Better wasting your time begging here. You can go and enjoy. You are very well in dancing and singing, right? Why can't you continue with your work? So, when you are happy in your happy times, when you are singing and dancing in your happy times, now start dance. You can sing and dance during your hard times. So you are very happy and enjoying, wasted your time during your happy times. In the same way, now also go and enjoy, sing and dance in these hard situations also. So this is the lesson which I am taught to the cricket. And this lesson is for our humans also. It means we have to save for our future. We must not waste our time, and then we should plan. We have to plan for the future, then only we can enjoy the future rather than wasting time in the present and later suffering in the future. This is the message what the poet wants to convey us through this poem, The Ant and the Cricket. That's all, children.
Now we are going to discuss the second chapter, the tsunami. The lesson begins with a few stories from the Andaman and Nicobar groups of islands. The first is of a manager of a cooperative society named Ignatius, who was woken up by his wife because she felt the earthquake. After keeping his television on the floor, he rushed his family out of the house where they saw large waves coming towards them and on the beach. Two of his children who had held hands with their mother's father and brother were swept away along with their mother. Only two children who stuck with Ignatius were saved. So it means these small stories were taken which was happened in Andaman and Nicobar Island. The tsunami occurred and some incidents were taken from those situations, experiences. Small stories were given here. The first story is about manager of cooperative society named Ignatius, and he was woken up by his wife. His wife woke him after seeing something abnormal. She felt something abnormal early in the morning and she woke Ignatius. Immediately when he saw that he felt earthquake, he immediately knew that earthquake is going to occur. So he just safeguarded his the things which are costlier, valuable things. He safeguarded like keeping the television breaking things down, and he took the immediately he took his family along with him and ran somewhere to a place where he can keep his family safe. So, two of his children who held his grandfather's and uncle's hands were swept away along with the waters, with the waves. Only two children who were with Ignatius were saved. So, this is a small story about the Ignatius family. And the next is account of the policeman in the Nicobar island named Sanjeev who managed to save his wife and baby daughter, but upon hearing cries from his guest house cook's wife, he ran into the water which swallowed both of them. So the second story is about a policeman in the Nicobar island and his name is Sanjeev. He tried to save his wife and baby. He has a small daughter, so he tried to save his wife and daughter and they were safe. But immediately when they were trying to move from that place to the safer space, he heard his guest house cook's wife. He has a cook in his guest house and his wife is crying because she is shouting for help. She is shouting for help. So this Sanjeev, he sent his wife and daughter to the safer place and he ran again back to that place to save cook's wife. But his bad luck, the water force has been increased and it swallowed. It means they both also died in the tidal waves. The third thing is Meghna, a 3-year-old who was swept away by the waves, along with her family and 70 other people, managed to stay alive by holding onto a wooden door. She could not be seen by relief helicopters for 2 days and came to shore only through a wave. So the third story is about Meghna. She is a 13-year-old girl who was also swept away by the waves along with her family. Her family was also swept over in the waves, children. And then other 70 other people were also washed away by those waves. But she just hold a wooden door which is just floating on the water. She was in that. For 2 days she stayed in that water without food and water. Even the relief helicopters which was flying over there couldn't see her. After 2 days, she herself reached the shore with the help of a wave. Another wave came and just pushed the wooden door to the shore, and she came safely there. She reached the shore safely and she was not dead. She survived somehow. Okay, this is the third story. Now let us check into the fourth one. The fourth is the story of Almaz Javed's family. As soon as her father got to know about tsunami, he took everyone to a safer place. In the process of doing so, Alma's grandfather got hit in the head by something, and when Alma's father tried to save him, they got carried away with the waves. Alma's mother and aunts held on to the leaves of a coconut tree which was uprooted by the giant waves. When Almas found a wooden log, she climbed on it and managed to save herself. And this fourth story is about Almas Javed family. So Almas is also a small child, and when they saw that tsunami is going to occur, when they felt that they are going to stuck in that tsunami, her father, just took every one of his family members to a safer place. So when he was trying to safeguard his family, suddenly Alma's grandfather got hit by something, a wood or a thing fell from the top, and his head got hurt. So the Alma's father want to save his father, right? So he went to save the grandfather, but the waves force just pushed away Alma's father and grandfather together, and they were no more. And Alma's mother and aunts also, in that water, they were just holding the leaves of a coconut tree to save their lives. But the same thing, the tree uprooted, it just came away along with the roots, and they too were also washed away. They too were also taken away by the waters, and they too were not found. I mean, they just disappeared. But Alma somehow she found a wooden log. Here also she found a wooden log which is floating on the water, and she somehow managed and climbed onto it and saved herself. And this is the survival story of Alma's in the fourth story. Next, in the story of the Smith family, next is the story of the Smith family from South England but had come to visit Thailand to spend their vacations on a beach resort. Penny and Colin Smith had two daughters, out of which the elder one, a 10-year-old named Tilly, helped save the entire family and a lot of other people from the gigantic waves. As he saw the sea rise and the beach getting smaller, she recalled a lesson from her geography class that illustrated visuals of the tsunami that hit the Hawaiian Islands in 1946. She got hysterical and shouted for everyone to run. Her parents took the children to the third floor of the hotel that survived at least 3 waves of the tsunami. Along with their family, a lot of other people who followed them were saved. So this is the last fifth story. In this lesson, it is about Tilly Smith. So Tilly Smith means Smith is her father's name. So when they went a vacation to celebrate a Christmas there, they found these abnormal situations. When they found these abnormal situations like the sea rise and the beach is getting smaller, this girl started recollecting her teacher who taught about geography class. Her teacher taught about how a tsunami occurs, what are the symptoms before a tsunami starts, right? So immediately recollected all those things, and then later she started like expressing, she was like mad, she was expressing that tsunami is going to occur and they have to go to some safer places. Immediately her parents also accompanied her, and they started running to a safer place. And the people who were all staying in that hotel, they also ran along with Smith's family and they were also saved. This is how a small girl, by recollecting the information from the geography class, saved her family and also the members in her, sorry, the members who stayed in that hotel. So this is about the fifth story. All these five stories are the incidents which happened in Andaman and Nicobar Island during the tsunami situation. Okay, children. And the next thing is, and the third, this is this, like the third and the last part of the lesson talks about how animals manage to stay safe. So, two beliefs offer an explanation of the same. First, they possess sixth sense and can predict disasters. Second, they are acute hearing abilities that make them sensitive towards the earth's vibrations. Facts state that animals at the Yala National Park in Sri Lanka managed to protect themselves while 60 human lives were taken by the giant and the strong waves. Only carcasses of two water buffaloes were found. One such man in Gali reported that his two dogs refused to go for their usual run along the beach, which they are usually very excited for. This saved his life as well. So, this part is about animals. Animals which has animals, like animals are having the sixth sense, they can smell in the sense they can just get the information that something natural disaster is happening. So with their sixth sense, they can feel what is going to happen. So when the all the tsunami is occurring and all the people are living their lives in that Yala National Park, the animals were not dead because they know something is going to happen and they stayed safer. So when we are taking the recorded list, only two buffaloes were the carcasses means only two buffaloes' dead bodies were found, and all the animals are safe in that national park. In the same way, a man, when daily he goes to a walking with his two dogs, and that day those two dogs are refusing to go for a walk. They are staying at home. It is not willing to go for walk, and the man also stayed at home. He also he also did not go to walk that day, and that day tsunami occurred. And this is how these two dogs saved the man. Saved that man. So this is how animals are smarter than humans. And my personal thing is never, never, never hurt animals. Okay, children? Yes. And geography lesson is a poem related to the second chapter, the tsunami. The poem is about the way Earth looks from different altitudes. It is divided into three parts. So the three parts, I will read it, children, and you can understand because it is just a summary. What I am going to teach you is I have typed here. I will read it, so understand what is the summary of this geography lesson. When the jet takes off and starts to climb up in the sky, you can have full height view of the city. The city grew as per its necessity and did not grow as per proper planning. It does not have any particular style. It even looked 6 inches from a certain height, revealing its true structure. When the jet climbs higher up to about 10,000 feet, he could apprehend the facts that cities grew water resources. Water fulfilled the necessities like agriculture, transport, business, and others. He found that valleys were populated which met the necessities of the people. When the jet went above 6 miles, there is more water than land on the earth. While appreciating the geographical necessities of our plant, this is a spelling mistake, it is necessities. The poet is unable to understand the tendency to build borders, to erect walls, to create fences. Then he reflected that people on earth selfish and people on earth are selfish and narrow, for they hate each other. He found the earth to be one, but not the people living on this are divided. People living on this earth are divided for shallow reasons. It means for personal reasons. And children, this is the question pattern for your periodic test 1. In section A, the first Roman consists of like reading the passage Read the passage and answer the following questions. As usual, we will give you a paragraph. This will be not a small paragraph, it will be a very big paragraph. You have to read everything, understand the concept while reading, and you have to answer the questions. Then the second Roman is read the passage and complete the statements that follow. It means here also we will give the passage. The questions will be either in the multiple choice or fill in the blanks. So however it is, you have to read the passage, understand the story and answer the questions that follow. Okay. Now section B is writing and grammar part. Third Roman is about develop a story in about 200 to 250 words with a suitable title. This carries 5 marks. In that we will give you a picture. Don't write that there are 4 girls, one girl is dancing, one girl is singing, one girl is sitting. Don't frame the sentences like that. It is in a childish form. I have given a writing passage for you, right? In that, if you see again how a story should be developed with the help of a picture, I have explained you clearly. With the help of that, you can do that. Roman 4 is notice writing in about 50 words. This also I have sent you last week a presentation how to create a notice writing, how the hints should be followed. If you see that, you will get a clear structure. Roman 5 is look at the word phrase given below, rearrange them to form meaningful sentences. Here we will be giving words in a jumbled form. You have to arrange those words and you may have to frame a meaningful sentence. 3 marks, 3 questions, 1 mark. Each carries 1 mark, so 3 marks. 6 Roman is fill in the blanks with correct form of verbs. No. We will give the answers in the brackets. You have to fill the correct form of verbs in those fill-ups. 7th Roman is complete these sentences with the correct form of tenses. So children, in the grammar PPT presentation or grammar session, we had told you, we have given you all the forms of sentences. We have taught you also. So here it might be a fill in the blank or some other form. The tenses will be asked. You have to fill the things with the correct form of tenses. So 5 questions will be asked, 1 mark each and 5 marks. Last, eighth Roman is complete these sentences using present perfect tense. So here all the types of sentences will be asked in the 7th Roman. In the 8th Roman, you have to use only present perfect tense. Present perfect tense means what? Using had or have, right? Yes. So 2 questions will be asked. Section C is purely your textbook and classwork part. Here it will be, all the questions will be answered from your classwork and textbook, but some questions may vary, but it will be related to the concept. And here it is 9th Roman, children, it's not 8, the Roman has changed. Okay, the Roman has changed, children. It is a 9th Roman. Read the extract given below and answer the questions that follow. 3 marks. Write synonyms. Here, the read the extract given means we will take any one paragraph from the lesson, and that also it will be like passage writing only. You have to read that passage and the questions will be asked in the own format and you have to answer that. Write synonyms for the following. Synonyms you will get from the classwork only. 4 synonyms will be asked, each carries half marks. And then next one is answer the following questions in about 30 to 40 words. Answer the questions in about 30 to 40 words. So it will be like 2 questions will be asked, 2 marks each and 4 marks. Next thing is answer the following questions in about 100 to 120 words each. It means you have to write the detailed answer for this. 2 questions will be asked, 3 marks will be given for each question. Sometimes choice will be given and sometimes choice may not be given. So may be given or may not be given. You have to be prepared with the concept, then you can answer whatever the questions are there. Okay children, so these are the things which we want to discuss with you regarding the pattern and the summarization of the thing. So be ready for the examination, be ready with the concept and don't by heart. Don't by heart the concept, understand the concept and read. All the best for your exam children. Looking forward for your good marks and will be eagerly waiting for your marks. Okay, and I want everyone to gain above 45 for 50 marks. The question paper is for 50 marks. I want you all to get above 45. Okay, children? So I'll be waiting eagerly to correct your papers. That's all for today. This is the small revision part and a recollecting of all the concepts which we have been discussing from the beginning. And thanks a lot, children. Stay safe. Only some days to go for. And this is Priya signing off from Alpha International CBSE School, Bahur. Thank you, children.